Hi, thanks for being in a new video. This time I have the Motorola Edge 40 Neo with me and I'm going to tell you what I liked most and least about it in case you're considering buying it. So as always, let me tell you, don't buy the Motorola Edge Neo without watching this video. Let's consider its launch price, which is 7,999 pesos. As you already know, I based this on the launch price in Mexico, comparing it with all the devices that are launched in Mexico. So prices may vary in other countries, but I'll tell you right now that for this price, it seems to me one of the best buys of this year. Before I continue, I remind you that the full review is available in case you want to know it in more depth, because this will be a brief summary. Let's start with what I like the most. It has an exaggeratedly beautiful design, synthetic leather, ultra-thin, curved screen. I don't know what more you could ask for. To the touch, it feels very soft. It is too nice, and this is something very uncommon to see in devices of this price. Usually we will find devices with much simpler finishes, but here it even comes with the collaboration with Pantone. In this case, I have the color Canile Bay, which really looks extremely nice. Although consider that if you're going to use a case, you're possibly not going to enjoy the maximum nice design it has, but I would understand because you have to protect it as well. It has IP certification 68 low. That is to say that it resists water. At this price, it's something too unusual to find, so it's appreciated that Motorola gives us this option. You'd only find it on the Galaxy A34, but that's a device that has a much less thoughtful design. This one looks much more stylish and maintains this water resistance, which would definitely give you more security when using it in different conditions. The screen is pulled with 144 Hz. It also supports HDR10 Plus content and has 1300 nits as peak maximum brightness. Every way you look at it, it's an excellent screen that also has this curved finish that gives it a much more premium effect. So the screen has excellent contrast, excellent color, excellent brightness, excellent viewing angles. In this price range, I don't know if you're going to find a better screen. It also has stereo sound with 2 speakers that sound very good, and it also has Dolby Atmos, so you have a 10-band equalizer available without the need to connect headphones. And in case you want to use Bluetooth headphones, it does support high-definition audio codecs. This is also unusual in devices of this price, so if you have some codec headphones like aptX, which are a little more advanced, you will be able to enjoy them with all their capabilities by connecting them to this cell phone. It has 2 cameras that work as if they were 5 from other cell phones. That is, it does not have junk cameras that get in the way. It does not have marketing cameras. The ultra-wide camera has autofocus, so it also works as a macro camera. It takes very good backlit pictures, records in 4K with both the main camera and the ultra-wide camera, and even recording at night with the ultra-wide camera, you will see that it performs very well. The cameras really stand out, and it is one of the points that I like the most about this cell phone. It even has a portrait recording mode in both the main and front to blur the background, which obviously is not super advanced, but it is a mode that is usually only seen in flagship devices, the most expensive devices in the industry, and the fact of finding it in a mid-range device definitely stands out a lot. In addition, it features full HD slow motion at around 20 frames per second. Again, this is a feature we usually see on more expensive devices. It has a floating Windows mode for apps, which also does support YouTube and Instagram. So if you are one of those users who enjoy having many apps open at the same time, it is definitely going to give you a very good experience as well. The 68-watt charger is included in the box, and it also charges super fast. In 45 minutes, it charged from 0 to 100. It also has support for 5G networks, support for eSIM. This is something very rare to find in such an inexpensive device. Generally, the eSIM is reserved for more expensive models, and if you don't know what it works for, it's a virtual SIM. That is, if you are going to travel to another country, instead of buying a physical SIM card, you can simply purchase an eSIM through an internet service or provider, and with a simple QR code scan, you will be able to enjoy your entire mobile data network when you go on a trip. This without having to remove your physical SIM, without having to change your number or anything like that. It also has Ready For, so you can connect to an external monitor and use applications in a windowed format. This could obviously help you boost your productivity and is something Samsung offers on more expensive devices. Motorola also offers it on more expensive devices, but they have also moved it to mid-range devices, and that is something that is very much applauded. In some regions, Motobuds are included in the box. That is, they include fully wireless headphones. And that is also something to be applauded because generally manufacturers are looking to include fewer things in the box. But Motorola includes the charger that I already mentioned, and it also includes these wireless headphones. It has 12 gigabytes of RAM. In this price range, to give you an idea, the average device has 6 gigabytes of RAM, and that's why it stands out that this one has twice as much. The RAM is going to help you to be able to keep a lot of applications open without the device starting to feel sluggish when you switch between them or without. You're going to notice that the applications are restarting too much. So it really helps a lot to have a lot of RAM, and here you're going to have it.
It also has 256 gigabytes of storage. This is going to help you store lots and lots of pictures. You can install lots of applications, lots of games, and it's not going to fill up easily. It's really surprising because usually the average device in this price range has 128 gigabytes, and this one has twice that.
Its Dimensity 7030 processor really performs very well. We have already been testing it, and in any application you are going to see that it has a considerably high performance. In fact, this processor also performs excellent in games, and if you are one of those who record gameplays, it records your screen with 60 frames per second. This last piece of information I gave you is very important if you are a gamer because generally all devices record their screen at 30 frames per second. But if you want to show your audience a lot more action, 60 frames per second will make the difference. And this device does have those capabilities. Really, this device is too good, totally recommendable to buy, but we have to find something wrong with it. Now let's talk about what I didn't like. The ultra-wide camera is not capable of recording at 60 frames per second. If you wanted a cell phone for action shots, generally what is done to have this kind of effect is to use the widest lens possible and use 60 frames per second. But unfortunately, this camera does not support that recording speed. Also, when recording, you can't switch between the main camera and the ultra-wide camera without the need to stop recording. This is going to force you to create two separate clips, and that's definitely not such a pleasant experience. Although that could be fixed with an update, but I honestly don't know if they're going to do it. Motorola doesn't have an ecosystem. While they do have some products that come under the Motorola brand, they don't really have advanced coexistence and interaction with each other. So if you are one of those who were looking for an advanced watch with very innovative features that connects seamlessly with your cell phone, you are not going to find it. Hearing aids that have a very easy connection and a tremendous interaction with the cell phone, you will not find it either. Although it obviously belongs to the Android ecosystem and you might find devices from other brands that have good coexistence with the cell phone. But there is nothing like having your own ecosystem, and Motorola does not have it yet. Its vibration motor is on the Z-axis. This is also perhaps something a bit technical, and in fact it is already a bit more demanding, but we have to find something because it is honestly too good a device, but we needed some points to criticize it. The fact that its vibration motor is Z-axis will make the vibration much more generic or much simpler. Unlike devices that feature an X-axis motor which its vibration feels like thump, then it feels much more premium and more sophisticated. Here we are going to have just a simple vibration. The ultra-wide camera does get to have some chromatic aberrations, although I must insist that this is getting a little more picky than I'd like, but I need to find weaknesses in this device. If you don't know what chromatic aberration is, it's like this ghosting effect that is generated in some areas. Usually in cell phones you see a reddish aberration, which I insist is something quite common in cell phones, so it's getting a little more demanding than it should be. And it doesn't have a micro SD card slot. Although with 256 internal gigabytes, I really don't think you need a card, so I insist that it is one of the most recommended devices to buy this year, but I had to try hard to find weak points. If you already bought it, let me know your opinion in the comments. Tell me what you thought of it, if it worked well for you, if you still think it was an excellent purchase, or if you regretted something specific, also post it down there in the comments. For the moment, we have reached the end of this video. If you liked it, you know you can tell me, and we'll see you next time.